AMD just announced something that could fundamentally change how developers build AI. They've released the Ryzen AI Halo, a mini PC the size of a speaker that can run 200 billion parameter language models entirely on your desk. That's bigger than most open-source models developers use daily. No cloud subscriptions, no latency, no vendor lock-in. For context, running a 100 billion parameter model on AWS or Google Cloud can cost thousands a month. The Ryzen AI Halo costs $3,999 upfront. Once you buy it, you own the compute, you run AI workloads locally with full privacy and zero ongoing costs. This machine ships with a Ryzen AI Max plus 395 processor, AMD's most powerful mobile chip, paired with 128 gigabytes of unified memory. That's the kind of memory bandwidth you'd normally find in a seven-figure data center. Pre-orders opened in June 2026, and it's shipping with everything developers need: a developer-focused operating system, the AMD Ryzen AI Developer Center Hub, and full ROCm support for almost any open-source framework. The Halo is roughly the size of a small amplifier, something you can fit on a desk, throw in a backpack, or take to a coffee shop. This is AMD's direct challenge to the cloud AI monopoly. Understand why AMD built this machine. You need to know what developers deal with right now. For the past 5 years, if you wanted to run serious AI, you had two choices: pay thousands a month to cloud providers like AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure, or build your own data center, which costs way more upfront. The cloud works great for enterprises with unlimited budgets, but for independent developers, researchers, and smaller companies, it's a trap. Every inference costs money. Every experiment with a larger model pushes the bill higher. Cloud providers have a financial incentive to keep you dependent. They control your data, your speed, your costs. You're renting their hardware forever, locked in. Meanwhile, a developer's laptop can't handle real AI work. A MacBook maxes out at 8 gigabytes of dedicated memory, barely enough for a 7 billion parameter model, and it runs slowly. A gaming desktop with an NVIDIA RTX GPU might hit 24 gigabytes, still nowhere near the 100 billion parameter territory. You're stuck in the gap. Your home machine is too weak, the cloud is too expensive, and there's no middle ground. You can't own the infrastructure or control costs. You can't even see what cloud providers do with your models and data. That frustration has been building for years. AMD recognized it, saw the pain point, and built a machine to fill it. So what's actually inside the Ryzen AI Halo that makes it special? Start with the Ryzen AI Max plus 395 processor. This is AMD's most advanced mobile chip. It's built on cutting-edge architecture and integrated with onboard neural accelerators specifically designed for AI workloads. But the real star is the unified memory, 128 gigabytes sitting on the same bus as the processor. In traditional computers, your CPU and GPU have separate memory pools, and moving data between them is slow and wasteful. Unified memory eliminates that bottleneck. Data flows directly between the processor, the accelerators, and the memory in one unified address space. It's like the difference between two buildings connected by a hallway versus two buildings that are actually the same building. Everything just flows. That unified architecture is why the Halo can run 100 billion parameter models smoothly. You can keep the entire model in memory, iterate fast, and see results in seconds instead of waiting for cloud responses. The machine also ships with full ROCm support. That's AMD's open-source software stack for running AI workloads on their hardware. ROCm supports PyTorch, TensorFlow, and almost every popular deep learning framework. Developers don't need to rewrite code or learn a new ecosystem. They plug in their existing models and hit run. The developer experience is the whole point here. What can you actually do with a Ryzen AI Halo? Let's walk through some real scenarios. You're an AI researcher wanting to fine-tune a language model on proprietary data. In the cloud, that costs $10,000 to $50,000 depending on model size. With the Halo, you run fine-tuning locally over a weekend, no charges, and your data never leaves your machine. You're building an AI agent that needs to run inference hundreds of times per second. Cloud-based agent costs $500 a day. Running it locally costs nothing after the initial hardware investment. You're a student or freelancer experimenting with model training and prompt engineering. In the cloud, that's expensive. On the Halo, you're constrained by time and electricity costs, roughly $5 a day. There's also the privacy angle. If you're working with sensitive customer data, medical records, or proprietary code, you can't send it to the cloud. The Halo lets you build AI applications that never touch third-party servers. And there's the latency advantage. Inference happens in milliseconds instead of hundreds, so you can build real-time AI applications that feel responsive. For researchers, startups, and independent developers, these advantages add up to something genuinely powerful. Here's what the headlines aren't telling you. So how does the Ryzen AI Halo actually compare to your other options? Let's break it down. Option 1, Cloud Subscriptions. A Claude API subscription or GPT-4 API access costs a few cents per 1,000 tokens, but if you're running hundreds of inferences a day, you're looking at $500 to $5,000 a month. A Halo costs $3,999 upfront, and then your only cost is electricity, maybe $5 a day. In under a year, you break even. In 2 years, you've saved tens of thousands of dollars. Option 2, Gaming laptops or high-end consumer machines. You can get a gaming laptop with an NVIDIA RTX GPU for around $2,000, maybe $3,000. But the memory is nowhere close, usually 8 to 24 gigabytes of dedicated video memory versus the Halo's 128 gigabytes. You simply can't run bigger models on a laptop. A Halo costs $4,000 and does what would take multiple gaming laptops to achieve. Option 3, building your own server. You could assemble a machine with a high-end GPU for $5,000 to $10,000, but you'd need separate cooling, electricity, and space. The Halo is portable, power-efficient, pre-configured, and ready to go out of the box. The Halo sits in a sweet spot. What does the Ryzen AI Halo mean for the AI industry as a whole? It represents a fundamental change in power dynamics. For years, cloud providers like AWS, Google, and Azure have had a near monopoly on serious AI compute. They controlled which models you could run, how much you paid, and what happened to your data. The Halo disrupts that. Suddenly, you don't need permission from a cloud provider. You don't need to pay monthly fees for something you could own outright. You can build, iterate, deploy, and own your AI applications on your own hardware. This has cascading implications. Smaller companies and developers will innovate faster because they're not bottlenecked by cloud costs. Privacy-sensitive applications, healthcare, finance, legal, can stay entirely on-premise. The ecosystem changes from vendor lock-in to open standards. AMD is betting that developers want freedom more than convenience, and the pre-orders suggest they are right. There's also a competitive angle. Other hardware makers will notice. Intel, NVIDIA, and others will likely announce similar machines. The competitive pressure will push down prices and push up capabilities. Within a year, we'll probably see 5 to 10 different options for local AI development, and prices will drop. But here's the kicker. The Halo is the opening move. If you're interested in grabbing a Ryzen AI Halo, here's what you need to know about getting started. First, the pre-order window. AMD opened pre-orders in June 2026, and the machine is shipping now. The $3,999 price tag is a one-time cost, no hidden fees, no monthly subscriptions. Once you have the hardware, boot it up, and you'll find the AMD Ryzen AI Developer Center pre-installed. This is a central hub that gives you access to curated playbooks, tool recommendations, and validated software configurations. The Developer Center handles the setup complexity for you. It shows you which frameworks are optimized for your hardware, it helps you install dependencies, and it keeps everything up to date. From there, you can drop in your favorite frameworks, PyTorch, TensorFlow, or Llama for running open-source language models, whatever you prefer. The ROCm support means code written for AMD hardware integrates seamlessly. If you've been running models on cloud platforms, you can usually port your code in minutes. There's also documentation and community support. The Halo isn't launched in isolation. AMD has published guides, sample projects, and benchmarks so you can see what's possible. The hardware is open to any Linux or Windows operating system, so you're not locked into a proprietary environment. This is the opposite of cloud vendor lock-in. The Ryzen AI Halo represents something significant, the moment when local AI development became economically rational for individual developers, researchers, and smaller companies. It's not a laptop. It's not a cloud subscription. It's a new category, a machine powerful enough for real AI work, affordable enough to own outright, and flexible enough to run whatever frameworks you prefer. AMD is saying that the future of AI development doesn't live exclusively in the cloud, and pre-order demand suggests the industry agrees. Here's what this means for you. If you're building AI applications, the calculus has changed. If you're a researcher or data scientist frustrated by cloud costs, there's now an alternative. If you care about privacy or latency or owning your compute infrastructure, the Halo opens that door. Over the next 12 months, watch for competing announcements from Intel and NVIDIA. This space is about to get crowded and competitive, and that's great for developers. The AI industry is still very early, and how we build and deploy AI applications will define the next decade. The cloud model served its purpose, but it's not the only way forward. The Ryzen AI Halo is a shot across the bow of that monopoly, a statement that developers deserve better options. And that change could matter more than anyone's predicting. Keep an eye on this space. Follow for daily AI news.